from Eminence and Shadow, and most recently Tamsi. Oh, it's right.
Yeah,
They're
it's
on.
bassy.
They're
It's
on,
real
baby.
bassy.
Tamsi from Gachiakata. And hundreds of others. I've been so fortunate. This clocks my 15th year dubbing anime.
Dang.
I'm in a couple hundred of these bad boys. It's just such a blessing. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you for being here.
Adam Gibbs, everybody, woo!
Boo! Get him out of here.
We did neither one. It's funny that neither one of us mentioned the show that we're both in very prominently.
Listen.
But it's because no one ever knows the show.
That's right.
Sadly.
That's right. But you know what? Those are some of my favorite fans because they come up to the
Yeah.
table and it like warms my heart.
For sure.
For those of you who don't know, we are talking about the legendary 7 seasons of Natsume's Book of Friends.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
There you
man.
go.
Thank you. I truly, I love that show so much.
I do too.
If you're not familiar with Natsume's Book of Friends, go watch it. It's available on Crunchyroll. There, like I said, there's 7 seasons. It's frankly still open for more.
Yes. 7 seasons and like 4 movies or something
yeah.
crazy.
It's really
There's
wild.
a lot out there. If you're looking for like 80 episodes of something and you just want a cozy, funny, it's sort of a monster of the week type of show too.
Totally.
But Adam is the lead and he voices Natsume, and then I voice his like
He voices the
companion.
reason to watch the show.
I voice the ghost cat. He's very sassy. His name's Madara, and he's nuts and he's drunk half the
Yeah,
time, and it's so much fun. So we love this show.
I always
and
describe
that's all we're going to talk about now. Sorry, no, I'm just kidding.
The end. No, I always describe it as, it's Natsume. Oh, he's the sweetest, just good-hearted golden boy, but Madara is the reason to watch it. And I always say, well, he's a debaucherous, drunken old man trapped in a cat's body, and that's really like the nuts and bolts of it.
That is the nuts and bolts of
Yeah,
it. They
yeah.
have to. There's sort of like a monster that they have to release every week. It's a plot that you get to watch, but really it's about the interactions of the characters, and it's just the goofiest, silliest, happiest little show. So
And now,
check it out.
And now, like, we've made it to our like current show, waiting on its 2nd season now, Gachiakata, which, like, listen, y'all, if you're not watching Gachiakata, you're missing out, dude. It's so
true.
good. It's so
And
good.
if you can pronounce Gachiakata, then you're doing a lot better than a lot of us, because
Don't
for the
feel bad.
longest time I could not. I finally had to ask Lee. That's how I figured it out.
I texted Bryson and phonetically typed it out, and I was like, "Is it sure? We're not saying Gachiakuta, right? Because that's what I've been calling it forever, and that's what, of course, what I hear the fans call it. What I always say is like, call it whatever you want, just watch it, because it's so good. It's so good.
Yep, and I just call it Gachi because
Yeah.
everybody knows that.
That's
so I'm
right.
like, just Gachi.
That's right.
That's good.
Well, and as like season 2, season whatever roll out, like it'll be.
Season 2 supposedly is coming next year. We don't have a release date yet. They did just do a panel at Anime Expo, and it was like, they're like, a teaser visual. I'm like, okay, where's the visual? They're like, oh, it's only going to be aired at Anime Expo. I'm like, well, that sucks
That's
for
not
me
fair.
specifically because I'm not there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get to see. Somebody will post it
soon
online
enough.
at
Soon
some
enough.
point.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's us. Let's get to you guys.
You want to ask some questions or what?
Tell us your name and give us your question, please.
Yeah.
We kind of spoiled it, didn't we? No, for me it definitely is Madara from Natsume's Book of Friends. He's just the goofy. I'll give you a little taste.
Yes, please.
On a regular day of doing this show, I would come in and he would just walk into the scene totally drunk, hungover from the night before, and trying to complain to Natsume about something. So it'd be like,
How many times have I told you? You've got to leave the food out for me at night because I got lost in the kitchen again.
so it's like every episode is some version of that. And
Just so you know, like in the 7 seasons we did the show, that's the first time you've ever seen him say the lines out loud in person. Same for me. I like this. It's like a bit of. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit.
weird,
like
right?
Really. Oh man.
we did this for like 3 years, didn't we?
For real,
Wasn't it like
yeah.
2.5 years or
listen,
something?
Yeah, totally. And the beautiful thing about that show is like the first few seasons aired 150 years ago.
Right.
In the original Japanese, and then they waited a bunch of years and put out a few more seasons, and they waited a few more years and put out season 7 as we were like approaching
Wrapping,
the end of
yes.
season 6.
Yes.
And then they kind of left it still open. So
Yeah.
I mean,
We're gonna get more eventually,
We
I
have to.
think.
We have to. Yeah.
It originally came out in 2008,
Yeah.
if you can believe that.
Which-
So you're going to watch the first episode and be like, this is old, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, it is, and it is. Like, the animation style is very dated, I will say. But, you know, it's a little slower paced. So you can just kind of put it on in the background.
Great
You're cooking.
background show.
Yeah.
Great
You're doing
background
something
show.
at the house, put it on the background.
Yeah,
We're
full
just selling
laundry.
the show. I'm just selling
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
right,
doing
that's
now.
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, I swear we're not getting paid by them any further to market the show. I have lots. My favorite character I have ever voiced. You know it. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you should. It's Uramichi Onisan from an incredible show called Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan. Let's go. See, you're my favorite. Okay, listen. Yeah. I'm forever and ever. Like, really, all. It's the funniest show I've ever been a part of. He is. If you're on social media and anime is on your thread, I would bet you $7. You've seen it on your thread. It gets clipped all the time. He is the host of a children's TV show with a live studio audience of 5-year-olds in front of him. And he is Uramichi Onisan! But he's also a sad boy. He's very depressed. I'm not laughing at depression. It's very serious. But also,
It's the dichotomy of it.
that's it.
It's
that's
the dichotomy.
It. And so, like, it hits you in the feels, too. And every fan I've ever spoken to about that show is like, ooh, y'all, that dark stuff, that was that was relatable. I said, yeah, that's the point. Like, everybody relates to it. There aren't enough shows that kind of deal with some of the darker, realer feelings like that we all experience from time to time. And I always say that I love it so much because, like, speaking for myself, when I'm feeling blue or depressed or whatever, it's like I feel very alone. I feel very isolated. And I find that most people I speak to feel the same way. And it's like the whole key to remember is that, like, you're over there feeling alone, and you are, and you're alone, and you're alone, and you're alone, and I'm alone. We're all feeling the same feeling alone. Newsflash, you're not alone, you know? Like, we're all in it together. And it's like if we could just talk about it more, you won't feel so alone.
Is that kind of the message of the show, too, by the end?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's man. But again, it's like it is so silly and so funny. Every episode that you watch is another episode that they're filming the live episode. So just as they do in live shows like that, it's a new wacky character each week, and you get to see all the banter behind the scenes of all the goofy characters. I
Is
could
there
not
a
love it
children's
more.
show you could compare it to, like Pee-wee's Playhouse
So for
or
me,
something like that?
as much as I love Pee-wee, for me it was more like we're aging ourselves here,
Whatever.
but like Barney and Friends.
Okay, yeah,
because
yeah,
you've got
yeah.
a couple of characters who are dressed up in big silly suits.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
you know.
So Barney the Dinosaur-esque.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right. But just
Okay.
a lot, yeah. But
love
becau-
that.
But because he's really like capital D depressed. You know, he's like, "Hi, kids, it's me," and then they're like, Mr. Uramichi, what happened to your smile?" And his iconic line is, "What happened to my smile and my will to live? Where are they now? Gone." So you know, it's
And my will to live.
Yes,
I love
and,
that.
and most certainly his will to live. Yeah. So anyway,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to watch this.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
question.
thanks for your question.
Yeah. Of
Of
course.
course. As we hit the gong every time we talk. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Are you at the phase of like, I've got a demo, I'm already auditioning, and now I want to take it to the next level? Or are you not quite to that first part yet? Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Just wanted to see like where are we at. So the first thing I always recommend is a great website that's free. I think everything you do in the beginning should be free if you can, because you can spend a lot of money on this thing and maybe not get a lot out of it, especially in the beginning. So I always caution people, like, don't the first thing you do go spend $700 on a demo or something. Just
because
like,
there are certain people out there who know that. And
Yes.
they are going to ask you for your money. And they'll take it hand over fist with a smile on their face and a song in their heart. But they're not really helping you. So you do have to be careful.
So
Yeah.
just don't spend any money right away. You can learn a lot from a free website called iwannabeavoiceactor.com. It's created by a guy named D. Bradley Baker. And so he's a very famous voice actor out in LA. He recently did a show on the Disney Channel, Disney streaming rather, Disney Plus, called The Bad Batch. And yes,
Oh,
so he
nice.
voices 7 or 8 different stormtroopers in this show, and each one has a distinct personality. He's incredible. You should check out that show. But anyway, he's got a free website called iwannabeavoiceactor.com. It literally will answer every question that you have in the beginning, from what do I do about an agent, how do I start getting auditions, what are reputable places I can look for training, all that stuff is there. So it's really just if you've got the time and you can devote to going through a website, that's always the first step I recommend to anybody. Don't spend any money and go to this website and start reading. Yeah.
That's a nice, like super focused answer, man. And I'm happy to give you a more like macro view. What I always say is like, because voice acting, and in the phrase voice acting, voice comes first, a lot of people think that that's the primary concern. But what I can tell you is that acting comes first. Acting comes first. Acting comes first. Acting comes first. I'll say it 1,000 times. Voice directors, great that you can sound like this character or make a bunch of voices, but if you can't act, man, they don't care. They don't care that you can do 100 voices. You got to be able to act. And so I always for myself, I started as a theater actor. I still do a bit of theater, but that I've been doing that for a lot of years. But I always say focus on the acting first, because under the umbrella of acting is voice. And so if you train as an actor, you're going to be training your voice. But if you train your voice, you're not necessarily going to be training the skill of acting, right? And so particularly in the business of anime dubbing, you don't have time to study your script and get a deep dive into your character and make all these very deep decisions.
I wish we did sometimes. Wouldn't that be
Same,
nice?
same,
But
yeah.
it goes too fast.
No, way too fast. I mean, you walk like a lot of times it's like, oh, you're here. Hey, can you come in? I got this guy. He's this thing. You're doing the thing. Okay, ready? Go. And you just have to go. And so when you have a foundation of acting to lay back on, you feel confident and comfortable and secure, and you can go make big, interesting choices because you've been training at it. Whereas being thrown in a situation where you don't know the show and you don't know the character and you don't know what's happening and like, what does he even sound like? I don't know. But if you train as an actor, when you get thrown into that situation, you've got some tools in your toolkit. So always focus on the acting first. And that there are plenty of directors out there. There are plenty of voice actors out there. I mean, I even say like there are community theaters everywhere. There are professional theaters that host classes for adults. There are monologue workshops. There are all kinds of opportunities if you get out there and look for them, where you can, on Monday nights, over the course of these 6 Mondays, for $120, I'm going to learn some real marketable skills. But again, we're going to harken back to his earlier comment about being careful about spending too much money on the onset. So I know that can sound slightly contradictory. Sure, you might have to invest a little bit, but please don't go spend your goose egg, your nest egg, your life savings on learning how to act, because there's, like you said, there's so much information out there that is free or near to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But best of luck to you. Yeah. Yeah,
Thanks,
totally.
man. Hi.
Hi. Hey, Lucas.
I like side characters better because I like main characters better because you make more money. You're in there more often, so you get more
You
sessions.
have more lines, yeah.
You get more lines, you get more money. but I like side characters better because usually as a main character, you are the first one in the booth. So that means that they get you in there right away at the beginning of the week, and you are now voicing this character, and you have none of the rest of your cast in there with you. So it's just you reacting to your imagination, or the Japanese track. But unless you speak fluent Japanese, which I don't,
Me either.
I'm just using the director's helping me a lot, but I'm using my imagination. And that's challenging as an actor. It's a little bit like acting to green screen, I think, if you were like a mocap actor. And I remember when Gandalf was talking about just how disappointing it is. He's like, this is not what I trained for. I trained to be on stage with other actors. I want to be acting with other actors. This is weird, and it took him a while to get used to the idea of it. And it took me a while to get used to the idea of like having emotional scenes as the lead of a show, like Space Battleship Yamato 2199. I'm the lead of that, and there's these heart-wrenching scenes with my female lead where it's like, not only are we survived this life-threatening thing, but it's also like, are we going to confess our feelings to each other in this moment of like high intensity? And it's just me, just like crying and trying to emote, and Mallory's not there, that is not just challenging, it's sad. It's a sad feeling. It's like, man, I want us to both be there. So there's that. And so as a supporting character, you get to come in midweek or the second week. Usually there's 2 weeks to dub an episode. And by then, there's this wonderful group of actors that have already laid down all these parts that I get to play off of. It feels a lot more like the kind of acting that I trained to do, or grew up doing. And so I love that. And I like acting with other actors. It's fun. So, yeah.
That's such a good answer. And like, he hits the nail on the head. Like, to piggyback, like, coming in as a secondary character, as a side, really interesting side character, hearing your other voice actors in English really helps set up the world for you too, because oftentimes, newsflash, I don't want to break your heart, but we don't always have the opportunity to read all the manga or read it, or go watch all the sub before we go in to record. A lot of times if I get an email on Tuesday to show up on Thursday, listen, man, I got 3 kids. I'm wiping butts and cooking dinner, and you know what I mean? Like, getting my kids to school, so I don't have time to do all that research. So when I show up into the booth, a lot of times I'm going in blind, or relatively so, outside of a quick wiki search and kind of understanding the world that I'm in. But when you go in and your beautiful cast of characters are all there and you hear them and you're bouncing off their energy, it's like, let's go. But when you're going in and, okay, it's your turn, and you hear cricket, crickets, 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 it's like, oh man, I'm feeling a little exposed here, So it's like, as a main character, it is great. The father in me who has to feed those 3 kids wants the lead character because he has the most lines and he's going to pay me the most. But yeah, it's so much more fun to play like a cool side character. Sure, we got Yakura. Did I audition for Tamsi? No, I auditioned for Rudo because he's the lead. But even still, no lie, when I recorded that audition in my closet at home, I read the specs, I looked at the character, I was like, dude, Bryson Bogus is about to book this character. Like, that's my boy, I love him. But I was like, he is booking this, period. I just know it. I'm still going to submit, of course.
You have to.
You have to.
It's the job.
That's right, you have to
The job
submit.
is auditioning. That's what we do, really.
Amen. And so I would have loved to play Rudo because he's talking his head off, and I would have booked a lot more hours, and you know what I mean? Like, the mortgage would have been easier to pay over the last few months. But Tamsi is so delectable and so fun and so unique, and it gives me the opportunity to do voice types that I don't always get to do. Frankly, I play a lot of sweet 17-year-old boys with golden hearts and a will to make things better, which, again, I love because they like to talk a lot and they think a lot in their heads, which are the easiest lines to memorize.
Those are the easiest ones of all, yeah.
The mentals are the best because you don't have to match flaps. You have the freedom to kind of give it your own little spin because you're not stuck to what the flaps are doing.
Flaps are the mouth movements.
Yeah,
we call them flaps.
Which
so.
is, we really, the director makes a real some more than others, but the directors make a really concerted effort to match to the flaps that are on the screen. But when it's mental, I've got a little time to play and think.
You
and
can
do.
act. Wait, we're gonna act
What a
today?
concept!
Yeah, we get to do
Yeah.
some acting. We're gonna make some choices.
But honestly, listen, I'll play any character. Whatever comes my way is a different kind of challenge, so I love them all. But yeah, that's it for sure.
Good question,
Thank you
man.
for the
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah.
How we doing? Halfway through.
Oh, nice. Sad.
Sad.
Yeah, but also, well, I'm trying to think. No, sad. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, except for those shows that are like, I'm like, no, I love working on all the shows I work on. So, like, it's very rare that it would be like, oh, finally, episode 12, I can move on to the next thing.
I think this show is obscure enough now and old enough now. I can say that I can talk about this. The worst show I ever worked on, and I was so glad for it to be over, was called Handshakers.
Oh.
Has anybody ever? No one's ever heard of this show. I bring it up, and this is the other reason why it's fine to talk about, because nobody knows what I'm talking about.
That's pre-COVID when you could get away with a show called
way-
Handshakers.
yes, way pre-COVID.
Now it's fist bumpers.
This was probably, if not Justin Briner's first anime that he ever voiced, definitely close to the first. And he plays the lead. Justin Briner's the voice of Deku in My Hero, for those that don't know. And he is the lead, and I play the main villain. And the show doesn't make any sense, kind of from the jump. And then it's a mixture of what I will call like hand-drawn traditional animation and this really god-awful CGI that is like it looks like they spent $8 on it. It's terrible. It's terrible. And really by the time I think all of us, but for sure me and the director, when we got to episode 12, we were like, thank God this show is over. Like, it was terrible. And we were sort of hoping, with a lot of these shows, you might end up at episode 10, and all of a sudden they bring in 5 new characters. And you're like, what is happening? And it's like they're trying to set up season 2. So with this one, they brought in some new characters, and then we got to like episode 11, and like they all died. So like all these characters that just got introduced are just all got slaughtered. So we're like, okay, that happened. We still don't understand necessarily why we were here in the first place. So we got to episode 12. We're like, surely they're going to land the plane. They're going to tell us what is going on. No, nothing was ever explained. So that is the exception. Every other show is awful for it to end, especially if it's one you really love, because it's the end of, some work. But if it's a show you really love, like, My Hero coming to an end was incredibly emotional, I will say. You spend a lot of time with these characters in their shoes, and you just they end up with a little place in your heart, and so it is kind of like saying goodbye to a friend. I think it can be, and so that's the sad part of it. But it's bittersweet because these days so few shows even get an ending. There are so many shows that come out. And
so much manga out there.
Everybody
waiting
loves
to be
it,
made.
right?
Yeah.
And then it never gets a second season, or it never really they leave it on a cliffhanger. So I'm like, I feel like it's a blessing to even get an ending, in today's world, because there's 50 new shows that come out every 3 months, and most of them are not going to get an ending. So it's weird. It's bittersweet.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I hate to bring up money again, but like for those aspiring actors out there, it has to be about the money, in part. Because if you really want this to be your profession, that means you're getting paid, and that's how you're surviving and living and getting on to the next job and paying your rent and affording food and insurance and whatever. So you really it has to be both. I say this a lot at my table, signing autographs. I say, like, you don't understand what kind of blessing this is twofold. One, it's a business, and we all know it's a business, and you spend your hard-earned money at our table for the access and for the autographs and whatnot, but that goes to such a good place, and that feeds my children, and it allows me to keep being an actor and keep making anime. It has changed my life more than I can tell you. But the other side of it is this. where we get to connect with the fans and we get to connect with these characters on a deeper level, and it's so much more of a passion and an emotional connection. And that's, for me at least, what this career is. It's a business that I'm very passionate about, and I've been acting for 35 years now, and I don't ever want to do anything else. But it's such a blessing that I've been able to do it long enough that I've been able to build a career to afford to do it. So that's a very roundabout way to answer the other part of your question. What's it like when a show ends? It's so sad because you are saying bye to these characters, and the camaraderie you have with the director and the engineer. And, you know, I come up from Houston up to Dallas a lot, and we'll go get lunch with the director, and we get to, like, be people for a moment. And when that ends, so does that relationship a little bit until the next time we get to work together. The other side of it is that paycheck's gone, you know, because we get paid per hour, per episode. And so if I book a lead on a show, I've got 12 episodes. So that's 12 weeks. So for these next 3 months, I'm getting paid for these shows. And so, like, I can breathe a little bit, and I know that, like, the financial boxes are going to get checked. And so you get to the end of those 3 months, and it's like, okay, what? Do I have another character? Do I have another show? Like, you know, to be the head of a household and raise a family, like, you have to be thinking about money. I know you guys know this, even as, you know, in your own situations. Times are tough out there, right? So yeah, it's usually bitter. It's less than bittersweet. But it is sweet because it does open you up for more opportunities and gets you, you know, opportunities for the next show. Yeah, I was,
For sure.
You know, it's sad to see my hero go, but Gachiakata is the best new thing, you know, out there. So
Who's
like,
watching Gachiakata? Anybody?
Thank you,
Oh,
thank you,
love
thank
that.
you.
I can tell the Gita
I
is.
see Gita. What's
Yeah.
up? Yeah. Listen, for those of you who don't know, it just won Best New Anime. Thank you. Yeah, I'll clap for it too. And also, the very brief history, since we're here, Kei Urana, who is the creator of Gachiakata, if you're a fan of Fire Force or Soul Eater or so many of those other great shows, that, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but that mangaka, that creator, is retiring.
Yes.
He has had an artist training under them, and he announced that this artist is going to be the successor to his legacy and is going to continue on his name after he retires. That artist is Kei Urana. She is the creator of Gachiakata. This is her first baby solo out from under him. So for her first solo project to be Best New Anime, I mean, buckle up. Like, it's not just a cool show. Like, it is a show you're going to keep hearing about with an incredibly deep, three-dimensional world of amazing characters, power systems, world building, all of it. The music
Is sick.
Like, it's scored like a contemporary film.
That's where so many people
So
have
good.
discovered it. Is they're like, I didn't know what it was, and then I was on TikTok and I heard that song.
I heard that song. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
yep,
exactly, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. Yeah. Yeah, bring it on. Yeah. Yeah, spoiler free. I mean, for me, like, I'm giddy, you know what I mean? Because as a manga reader, I know where my character's trajectory is going for now. No spoilers again, but even having read completely the chapter that just came out on Tuesday, like, I still have so many questions about my character, about all of our characters. Like, we don't know where they're ultimately ending up. We just know what's out there in the manga. But there's some really cool stuff coming. So I'm like, it's like I'm 12 and it's November and Christmas is 6 weeks away and like the lights are going up and the presents are showing up under the tree and you're like, oh, I get to open this box soon. That's how it feels. That's how it feels.
Man, that's a great description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat that.
No, I can't. That's awesome. I will just add that, and I don't want this to be a spoiler, but I've had a lot of people in the last month come up to my table and they go, do you know how to pronounce the name yet? And I'm like, no, I don't. And I've taken a couple passes at it. Let me tell you, I'm going to need a lot of help from the director on this one.
Yes.
This is where like the power of our directors means the world because they're the ones that are interfacing with the producers who are the ones interfacing with the licensor in Japan. And so that's where a lot of these decisions get made way above our pay grade. So by the time we come into the studio, what I want to happen is my director and my producer are like, here's the plan. Here's what we're going to do with this. This is what we need you to do. Or they reach out a week before and they're like, start practicing this, start getting the pronunciation of this down. This is the rhythm of it. We have this from our, translation team. This is what we want it to sound like. The creator this is very rare to have a creator this involved in this project from a dub perspective. Like she has been incredible about interacting with all the voice actors, really, at this point, I think, either online or in person. And it's so cool that this licensor and this creator care so much about this property. So with Gachi Akta in particular, I'm not worried about it. I have a feeling that all these big moments that are coming up are going to be well prepared for, and we're going to be guided to be very successful with it. And that's how I'm sleeping at night right now. Because otherwise I don't know how I'm going to say this name.
Also, again, with no spoilers, for those of you who are caught up on the manga, some amazing engine chapters in these last couple weeks, months. So much good stuff. Oh, such good stuff.
I came home one Tuesday and my wife was like, how was your day? I was like, well, I read the latest chapter and we need to sell the house, I guess. What do you mean? I'm like, I don't even want to tell you. Just forget it.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm not crying. You're crying. Yeah.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you. Woo, woo, woo.
I'm a child of the 90s, and so 80s and 90s, and we did not have the internet when I was little. And so there was no way, unless you stayed for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode all the way to the end and they play the credits, and then you quickly look, or you record it and then you pause it and you read the names. There was no other way to know who are the people doing these voices. It was all anonymous back then, and there was no internet to go like, let me go see who voices Leonardo. Like, there was no way to know. So I did not have it in my heart necessarily to be a voice actor as a kid. I just wanted to be an actor. So I was like super interested in cartoons and video games, but who the people were making those voices was not in my mind. I had no idea. And so I loved these shows, but I didn't really know that was even a career path. Like I wasn't aware of that being a thing people could do. I just knew some of the voices were cool, I wanted to be an actor. I went to college to be a filmmaker. When I came out of college, turns out there weren't a lot of jobs for a director. Duh. Like, I don't know what I thought was going to happen. But anyway, so opportunities arrived later in life to start doing this voice work stuff. And I started out on radio, so doing radio commercials, things like that. And I just enjoyed it. It was fun. Like, and you get to know, it's like a very, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a very it's a special group of people who just do the audio side of things. They're artists. Everybody's an artist who's involved in this, but they're just a little more down to earth. They're just a little more like normal people that you'd meet on the street and never know it kind of people. And I was really attracted to that aspect of it, of just like, man, we're really cool and people don't know it. I don't know. Something was cool about that. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. So similar. I was always an actor. Like I mentioned, I started as a theater actor. I was a Munchkin in the Wizard of Oz. Ooh. If you go to my website, iamadamgibbs.com, you can see a picture of it, of me as my little Munchkin self. So yeah, I always just wanted to do theater, and that's what I did growing up at my community theater. I went to college for musical theater. That's what my degree is. And then that was north of Houston in Texas. And so then I moved down to Houston and started working in the theater market there. There happened to be a really strong regional theater market in Houston, and so that's where I built the beginning of my stage career. And what a lot of fans don't know is that the majority of anime that's dubbed into English is done so in Dallas and in Houston. If it's not in LA, it's in Dallas or Houston pretty much. Crunchyroll is basically based up in the Dallas area, and Sentai Filmworks is down in the Houston area. So since I was kind of ingrained in the professional actor market in Houston, when they needed new talent, they would reach out, hey, who do you know? And so I offered actually Matranga and Andrew Love and a handful of other dear friends of mine who also came up through the theater market in Houston, recommended my name enough, and I got a job. So I never set out to be a voice actor. I just wanted to be an actor. And so because I was so focused on theater is where my brain was going, and anime was a cool thing that oh, this is fun and helps me pay my bills, and so that's what I did. And then I started having kids, and then started seeing how expensive life is and how little you get paid in professional theater, even at the highest levels. Because I've done 6 world premieres at a Tony Award-winning theater. I've done a lot of theater work that I'm very proud of. And if it was just little old me, I'd be okay to afford it. But it's so hard to do with kids. And so a lot of my eggs in the theater basket started going over to the voiceover basket. And frankly, it wasn't until I started coming to conventions and meeting fans for the first time where it opened a door in my brain. I was so used to every night at the end of the show in theater, you bow and the audience claps, and I look right at you and I say thanks for coming, and I meet you at the stage door, and we get to finally connect over this beautiful thing of art that we just experienced together. And then I voice acted for 10 years, only going into a dark little booth and saying my lines and going home. And there just wasn't that interaction. I went to my first convention and I was like, why do I feel amazing right now? What is this familiar feeling? It's curtain call. It's my opportunity to connect with you guys. And so I was like, well, maybe I'm not giving it anime the chance that I should. Because I grew up in a time where anime was not super accessible, and it certainly wasn't cool, and I was way too concerned about being cool. My older brother was into sports. My little brother was into anime. Nobody wants to be like their little brother. You want to be like your big brother. I was such a loser for that because I'm terrible at sports, and now I've found this beautiful industry in voice acting. So I always say that's the long answer. The short answer is, how did you get to become a voice actor? I say 50% luck, 50% devoting my entire life to acting. So it's those two things just happened to come together and led me here to this room, to this day, to be here with you. So it's definitely a miracle that it happened.
It's a timing thing, for sure.
Totally. It's there's no reason it should have happened, but it did.
Yeah.
But I also have been aiming somewhere in this direction for over 30 years. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. We got
Cool.
time for what? 2 more, maybe? Okay.
Cool.
2 more questions. Perfect.
Yeah. My favorite compliment ever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the best compliment.
Do you mind if I take this one first?
Go.
Well, you're in luck because in about 15 minutes in panel room 4, I think, I'm going to have my other panel for the weekend, and it is building your vocal repertoire. That's what the whole panel's about.
Did you pay her?
No, be cool, dude. Whose side are you on here, Madara? So feel free to come over to the panel, and we'll do some practical work on it.
Awesome.
But the other side of it that we will discuss in the panel is well, for starters, in dubbing anime, really our job is not to reinvent the wheel. We hear the Japanese actors, and it's more or less our job to kind of emulate what they're bringing to the table. Fortunately, we have great directors who cast us appropriately for the roles. So oftentimes, you're put in roles that fit your wheelhouse and your voice and what you bring to the table. And so it's fairly easy. But also, if it's outside of your wheelhouse and it's a wacky, crazy voice, well, okay, I'm going to bring the wacky, crazy voice. And there are a lot of different techniques. placement, diction, rhythm, a lot of different things that we'll, kind of talk about, different textures and things that can help create a little library of voices for you.
The only thing I will add, and definitely go to this panel, that sounds awesome. The only thing I'll add to that is just read books that don't have pictures.
Yeah.
Because that's how you come up with these voices
That's so
ultimately.
good.
Because, yeah, you got to imagine these characters when you read a book that doesn't have pictures. And that is a workout for your brain like no other. And so I always recommend, like, if you're an actor and you're just starting out, like, the best thing you can do is read books that don't have pictures, because you're going to be creating those characters in your mind, but the author's telling you how to create them. So it's not like you have to totally fabricate them from nothing. You have guidelines in the book. Here's what they look like. Here's how they act. Here's some of the things they say, so you can infer their tone. He has a gravelly voice. What does that sound like? I can kind of imagine that. So it's like it's a workout for a voice actor. And especially, I think, when you get into the habit of it, it's like lifting weights in your mind for when you now go to the next step of, like, okay, I need to create a character. You've already got those muscles. They're ready, and so you can imagine what that's going to be.
That's such a good line.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, dude.
Really. I'm gonna say it in my panel too. That's so good. Read books that don't have pictures.
Yes.
Well said. Well said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
And finally, Gita.
Gita in the house. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Honestly, for me, it's like, what's your favorite ice cream? It's like, whoa, I mean, like, I love mint chocolate chip, but golly, Rocky Road's real good too. And, they're all so rich and unique in their own way. Like, I love being a cool guy. Engine, hello, like the epitome of cool guy. But also, like, silly, wacky characters. It kind of runs parallel to the earlier question of, like, I love the guys who talk a lot because they pay me more than your character could be the coolest in town, but if he has 7 lines, you're getting brought in for a 15-minute session. If you're the lead guy, I mean, when we were doing Natsume's Book of Friends, I would average 8 to 12 hours every single episode, and in our world, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, I've got consistent leads that's like 4 hours a week, maybe 5. So to stack the hours helps you afford to live. But man, anytime I can do some off the beaten path stuff, that's part of the reason I love Natsume so much, because he's so silly, and part of why I love Tamsi so much. Just a different texture, a different feel from my normal like sweet good boys.
I agree with all that. I'll just add that I love villains. Villains are fun. You get to do bad things, and it's fun to do bad things. I don't know if you guys learned that from the internet like I did 25 years ago. But
in 1902.
Yeah, 1902. Villains give you a chance to explore your dark side in a way that gives you permission, You have permission to just... And I love it when you're working on a villain and a director will be like, I don't know, can you make it, like, more disgusting, Like, 'cause I'll come into a role and I'll be like, let me get the cleanest diction, let me get the cleanest performance out of here. And they're like, can you make this awful? Like, can you make this, like, more awful and disgusting? I'm like, yes, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Villains are fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for having us here. We appreciate it.
Such a pleasure being here with you.
Come see us at our tables.
Yeah,
We'd love to talk more.
We'll be here all weekend. Like I said, yes, it's business, but also it's passion. Sure, autographs and things cost $1. Conversations are free. We're happy to have both. Come see us. Thank you all so much for being here.
Also, head over to panel room 4 for Adam's
Panel
next
room
panel.
4.
Thank you.